A girl named Becky, along with her husband Dan and her friend Hunter, are into extreme sports. During one of the rock climbs, Dan makes a mistake and dies. A year after the tragedy, Becky becomes depressed and stops communicating with her loved ones. Evenings pass more quickly and memories of her husband become rarer as she tries to drown her sorrow in a glass. On one such evening, Becky meets her father on his way out of the bar. He tries to convey to her that constantly beating herself up will not help and that Dan would not want to see her in this state. Day after day, Becky listens to the messages on Dan's answering machine. But soon the number becomes inactive and Becky realizes she will never hear her husband's voice again. This pushes her to think of the easiest way out. But suddenly a phone call rings. Hunter says that Becky looks really bad and it's time to get back to normal. She offers Becky an idea that she may not like, but asks her not to turn it down right away. There is a tall abandoned B-67 tower 6 hours from their location. Hunter wants to climb it and suggests Becky go with her. The location is perfect for scattering Dan's ashes. Becky refuses at first, but agrees the next day. Hunter is very happy that Becky has made the right decision and they head to the tower. On the way, the girls stop at a roadside hotel. Over dinner, Hunter talks about her video blog where she performs various extreme stunts. Becky says that Hunter doesn't need to fake it to attract an audience since she's already cool. Later, when they discover that there is a charge for charging phones at the hotel, Hunter shows how they can charge the device by unscrewing a bulb from a light fixture. Upon reaching the tower, the girls take along a 15-meter rope, a selfie stick, a quadcopter, and a couple bottles of water. The plan is simple. Climb the tower, take a couple of selfies, and scatter Dan's ashes, all in 2 to 3 hours. After a year of drinking and no training, Becky is worried, but with trembling hands, she starts climbing the rusty stairs following Hunter. The higher they climb, the less secure the metal structure seems. With each meter, the wind increases and the vibrations of the rusty ladder become stronger. At a height of about 300 meters, Becky breaks one of the rungs of the ladder and the girls decide to take a short break. Becky begins to doubt her strength and regrets agreeing to do this. However, Hunter, as usual, calms her friend down. After a short rest and a sip of water, the girls continue the climb. After reaching the 500-meter mark on the inner staircase, the extremists move on to the even more precarious outer staircase leading to the observation deck. This staircase looks even more worn and fragile, as if it is only holding on by word of honor. Becky's fear increases with every meter she walks, and she asks Hunter to go back. But her friend insists that going down would mean that fear has triumphed, which is unacceptable. After overcoming obstacles in the form of antennas, Hunter decides to add adrenaline to the already terrified Becky. After reaching the top, the girls take some extreme selfies, shoot a video from an ATV, remember Dan with tears, and scatter his ashes. Becky overcomes her fear and is ready to go on with her life. She then offers to begin the descent. As Becky begins to descend the ladder, the rusty structure fails them and the ladder collapses. Luckily, a safety rope allows Hunter to hold Becky and save her from falling. Hunter pulls Becky back to the top of the tower. The girls are shaken, but glad they made it through the situation. Hunter notices that they didn't have time to capture the epic moment on camera. That's when they realize that the only way down is a collapsed ladder. Becky begins to panic, realizing how serious their situation is. They're on an abandoned tower in the middle of the desert, with no communication, no food, and all their water left in a backpack dropped on a satellite dish. On top of that, Becky hadn't noticed how badly she cut herself. Hunter stays positive and assures them that the noise from the falling ladder must have attracted attention and someone is already calling for rescuers. 5 hours later, the girls begin to suspect that there will be no help. Hunter recalls that her phone was definitely picking up a signal at the bottom as she saw notifications on Instagram. But they aren't sure at what altitude the connection was lost. Hoping that the connection was lost near the top, Hunter ties her phone to a rope and lowers it down to catch a signal. But this brings no results. Becky suggests writing a text message to be sent as soon as there is a connection. They put the phone in their sneakers, wrap a push-up around it, and drop it down. Not knowing if the message was sent or if the phone crashed, they are left to wait and hope for the best. A little later, Becky notices a tattoo on Hunter's leg. At that moment, Hunter, looking through binoculars, notices a man with a dog. The girls start screaming as hard as they can, but the 600-meter distance prevents them from being heard. Becky starts taking off and throwing his sneakers, and at one point the man notices his dog reacting to the falling shoes. However, he does not pay attention to it and walks away. Becky decides to use the flared gun found in the crate, but Hunter stops her by pointing at the vans in the distance. There's obviously someone there, and the shot is best left until dark so the flare gun will be more visible. While waiting for dark, Becky rewatches the videos with her husband and notices Hunter looking enviously at their couple. At that moment, Hunter reports that the people near the vans are getting ready to leave and asks Becky to launch the rocket. Look, give it to me. The two men notice the flare shot and flashlight light from their phones and start moving towards them, realizing that the girls are trapped upstairs. However, Hunter notices that the guys are in no hurry to rescue them. They just steal the car and the girls came in. Becky sees the tattoo on Hunter's leg again and tells the story that her husband Dan never said "I love you." He used the code 143, which is tattooed on Hunter's leg. This is when Hunter admits that she slept with Dan. Their affair lasted about 4 months. Hunter apologizes to Becky and explains that Dan was the initiator of their relationship. She cut off contact with him some time later, but after his death, she was unable to be a reliable support for Becky due to guilt. Becky notes that it's been 24 hours since the phone reset, and the conclusion is one. Either Hunter's 60,000 subscribers don't care or the message never got through. Hunter suggests trying to retrieve a backpack snagged on a plate to get water and a quadricopter. They can use it to write a message and send it to the hotel where they had dinner. Becky warns that this is a bad idea, but Hunter convinces her that they have no choice. Gathering all the will in her fist, the girl begins her descent. In the end, Hunter is only a few meters short of reaching her backpack. She decides to unhook herself from the rope to go even lower and, swinging properly, jumps right onto the plate. She manages to grab the backpack, but now there's the question of how to get back up. Using a selfie stick, she hooks the backpack onto a loop of rope and jumps onto it, risking a fall down. Hunter yells to Becky that teamwork is now required. She will climb up the rope and Becky must pull hard on the rope. And so, almost reaching the top, Hunter snaps and falls. Becky is afraid to look down for a long time, realizing that her friend is gone. But fortunately, Hunter is alive. She was able to hold on to her backpack, although her hands were badly injured. Now it's up to Becky to see if Hunter can get out. Gathering all her strength, Becky pulls her friend out, saving her from being killed. After taking a few sips of water, Becky writes a message for help on paper, attaches it to the quadcopter, and sends it toward the motel. But it soon becomes clear that the quadcopter's battery is nearly dead, and the girls have to bring it back in an emergency. After spending the night thinking about the hopelessness of the situation, Becky notices a warning light. She recalls how Hunter at the motel was able to recharge her phone by simply leaning the charger against the lamp's batteries. Becky is sure that this trick could work for the quadcopter as well. It would give them a real chance of rescue. All they have to do is climb another 9 meters. As dawn breaks, Becky begins her ascent. Reaching the signal light, she tries to plug in the charger, but the plug contacts won't reach. She puts a gold ring inside. Voila, it's charging. Becky needs to hang in this position for as long as possible to maximize the quadcopter's charge. Her will to survive is so great that not even the damn parrot can stop her. Having accomplished the task, she climbs down and sends the quadcopter to the motel. With only a few meters to fly, Becky starts screaming hysterically, realizing that their last chance for rescue is lost. Surviving even this night will be next to impossible, let alone waiting for help later. Becky decides to throw her phone away in hopes that the message will still send and the phone won't break. She asks Hunter for her sneakers, but her friend suddenly says her shoes aren't here. Becky doesn't realize what's going on, and then Hunter admits that she's already dead. The moment Becky was pulling her out, Hunter snapped and fell onto a satellite dish. Becky was just afraid to admit she was alone, so she imagined Hunter was fine. But now she has to face the truth. The next day, Becky sits motionless while a vulture pecks at her thigh wound. Suddenly, she grabs the parrot by the head, kills it, and eats it to replenish her strength. After refreshing herself, Becky climbs down the rope to Hunter's body, dials a message on her phone for her father, saying that she is stuck on the tower and needs help immediately. She then puts her phone in her sneaker, and then in Hunter's body and drops it down. In the evening, Becky's father gets the message, notifies all services, and rushes to the tower where a bunch of rescue vehicles have already gathered. At first, the father can't find his daughter, and as he sees the rescuers wrapping the body in a body bag, he realizes he's probably too late. At the last moment, however, he hears Becky calling for him from the ambulance.